Hey everybody, I've been talking a lot, I think, on this channel. Well, not a lot, but I think I've mentioned a lot that China is going to be the new superpower. And I got this article here I thought was pretty interesting from Yahoo. It's actually a really well written article. Shocking. Well, it's not from Yahoo, National Review. But they posted it on Yahoo. Usually Yahoo just posts fucking Yahoo shit. So here we go. This is backing up the claim I've been making that China is going to become the new superpower in the world. Oh, I should have raised. What am I doing? What started as a catastrophe for China is shaping up to be a moment of strategic opportunity, a rare turning point in the flow of history. Suddenly, the protests in Hong Kong, carrying a mortal threat to political stability in the mainland, became a physical impossibility. More important, the pandemic set in motion a global competition to contain the virus, for which China and the Chinese Communist parties seem uniquely prepared. As the virus spread to the whole world, it became apparent that Western societies, Beijing's true rivals, did not have the ability to quickly organize every citizen around a single goal, as opposed to China, which remains to a large extent a revolutionary society. Their political systems were built for normal times. Chinese society is a mobilized army which can quickly drop everything else and march in one direction. So they're saying like American society isn't built for these like pandemic situations, which is true. And I mean, they're saying here about how China can get every one of their citizens to do the right thing. Whereas in America, the media is showing, oh, look at all these young people on the beach in spring break, and they're not listening to us. And maybe if we had a system like China, right? Like they're trying to create this narrative, like I said, where the Chinese system is better at fighting a pandemic than the American system. So let's adopt the Chinese system because it's better. Mao once said, everything under heaven is in utter chaos. The situation is excellent. And so it seems at present, as seen from Beijing. Chinese diplomats stationed all over the world spend their time raising the stakes to a dangerous level. Following instructions from the very top, they have taken to the media to issue a challenge to America, to point out its failure and to compare the chaos in American cities and hospitals with what they see as a singular success in stopping the epidemic in China. Several commenters have suggested that China may be winning the coronavirus battle by stepping forward and providing medical help to affected countries, mostly in Europe, at a time when the United States is consumed with its own difficulties. This misses the point. The cases have been multiplying where the medical equipment provided by Chinese companies and even the Chinese state turned out to be faulty, provoking justified ire in, for example, Spain, the Netherlands, and Turkey. Moreover, the medical help is a normal occurrence in a crisis. China has done nothing different except, perhaps, in the clumsy way it publicizes those efforts. Forget about mask diplomacy. It is no more than a distraction. There are other ways for China to use the coronavirus pandemic to upturn the existing global order. I see three main levers. First one is the direct comparison between the situation in China and elsewhere. The number of cases and fatalities provided by Chinese authorities almost certainly misrepresent the real figures by more than an order of magnitude. But the fact remains that a semblance of normalcy was achieved in a small period of time. If the United States fails to do the same, its prestige will suffer a severe blow. People all over the world will quickly change their perceptions about relative power and capacity. The second lever resides with industrial value chains. Last month, General Motors, Ford, and Fiat Chrysler closed all their automotive productive plants across the United States and Canada. Other sectors have followed. In the meantime, China contained the worst of the pandemic to one province, allowing economic activity to quickly resume elsewhere. The most recent data shows renewed activity in the flow of goods across the country, as well as at ports worldwide that do business with China. If the freeze in Europe and America continues for much longer, Chinese companies will be able to dramatically expand market share and replace Western-led value chains. Just yesterday, Chinese authorities announced that manufacturing activity expanded in March, defying expectations of a contraction. In February, the official Purchasing Managers Index hit a record low 35.7. It bounced back to 52 in March. Prepare for a worldwide wave of Chinese acquisitions at knockdown prices. Finally, in a more extreme scenario, important countries could experience the kind of economic shock that leads to widespread social and political collapse. At that point, China would have a unique opportunity to step in, provide aid, and refashion these countries in its image. Okay? That's what I said the plan is. This is what I've said the plan has been. Well, I'm parodying from Alan Watt, but yeah. It would look like a repeat of the Marshall Plan and the beginning of the American world order after the ravages of World War II. Indonesia, South Asia, even Russia might be a special interest in such a scenario. Yes, think of World War II. World War II devastated Europe, which allowed America to emerge as the world's superpower. And then America forged all these other countries in its image, which it basically got from the United Kingdom. And then the decision was made that the Chinese system was more efficient than the American system. And so now they decided to change the Western systems to more of a Chinese-like system. And the pandemic is going to help them achieve that goal, in my opinion. Okay, continuing reading. We knew that a generalized race or competition between alternative geopolitical models had started, but it was never clear what the background for such a competition would be. If the clash took place within the existing global trade and financial system, which was of course built according to Western rules and principles, the United States was confident the battle could be decisively won. But what if it took place on neutral ground? What if it took place in a kind of neutral landscape, a state of nature with few or no rules, against a chaotic and quickly evolving background? The outcome would become considerably more uncertain. To put it more bluntly, there was always an argument that the existing world order cannot change because only a momentous war has done that in the past, and world wars have become impossible. But in pandemics, and soon in climate change, we may have found two functional equivalents of war. Okay? Now this is a fucking amazing way to end the article, because this is so true. They use war to change society. Okay? Important. They use war to change societies. Okay, both societies involved in the war change, and the whole point of the war is to change societies. The war, they don't really. The war is just that. That's just the excuse to change society. Okay, so what do you hear? What kind of rhetoric do you hear from Donald Trump? This is a war, the invisible enemy. This, and climate change again. I've been going over climate change over and over again. Like, see. Pandemic and climate change, these are global crises which will require a global response, global bureaucracy to solve the problem. Okay? And then, yeah, like this article points out, this pandemic is going to devastate our Western economies. China's going to emerge as a superpower after this. Mark my fucking words. And that's pretty much all I got for this video. Later.